The March for Australia rally has been unavoidable in the online politics space. It's been sold as a silent majority march where the everyday Aussie will finally get their voice heard. But that's not really the whole picture. Now, depending on whether you use TikTok or Twitter, your impression of this event is going to be dramatically different. If you're on TikTok, you need to be worried. This might be the next Cronulla riots or Charlottesville. And if you're on Twitter, well, you're hoping it's going to be the next Cronulla riots or Charlottesville. I want to be exceptionally clear. I don't believe the vast majority of people going to this event are overt racists or really racist at all. These are struggling people who feel neglected and are really being used as political cannon fodder by people who have an agenda to push and are trying to gain political power. Let's also get something obvious out of the way. Yes, immigration does in fact impact housing, but it doesn't seem to be the dominant factor. People just like to use it as a scapegoat for their own political gain, and this event is really a clear example of that. So what is the point of this video? Well, a huge amount of people have taken issue with this event being called racist. So let's actually unpack it all. The birth of this event is a little murky. It seems that some 18-year-old kid took offense to someone burning the Australian flag during the March for Palestine and posted some TikToks about a pro-Australia march and just threw out the 31st as a random date. The TikToks blew up and a bunch of conservative creators started reaching out to see what they could do to make this happen. A small group of organizers was formed, with the kid eventually palming it off because it became way too much for them to handle. Whilst initially anonymous, we now know who the woman who took over this event was, and she goes by the moniker Bec Freedom, a freedom movement character from the COVID lockdown years. You might think that would actually be beneficial for the March to Australia. They can now sell this as, this freedom of speech, freedom of expression type of event, rather than the racially motivated one people keep trying to put on them. Time and time again, we have heard that this event has nothing to do with race. It's only mass immigration. Well, what's this then?
So you can't bend the knee, because I said this in my post. The two major cohorts are the boomers and the migrants now. So young white people, even if you're in your 30s, even 40s, right, you're being outnumbered by everyone. So it can't happen.
100%. I think, look, the messaging, we just need to, and look, I understand why some people are saying, oh, it's not about race. Though people like that, they're scared.
Yeah.
But if we break it down, this is how I tried to explain it to somebody. I said, okay, so protect Australian heritage, culture, way of life. Next step, protect European culture, heritage, way of life. The next step is protect white heritage. So it all means the same thing. It's just different ways to put it. Australian heritage, by saying it that way, it is more appealing to the public. It's going to deter them from saying, oh, it's a Nazi rally, blah, blah, blah. That's all it means. Australian is white, is European white. Like it's I don't understand. I think the problem, put it down to beer.
Oh, so this is about keeping Australia white. That sounds pretty racially motivated to me. But nevertheless, even if it is about, keeping Australia white, at least she's like ideologically a pacifist.
The reason I'm saying I feel it needs to happen is because we need violence. I'm sorry, but we need fucking violence. We've done peaceful. Peaceful hasn't done shit. I don't think that anything significant is going to change unless something like that does happen again. And it's just the facts. Like it's until we stand up and do something like that day, I think that it's just going to be repeating.
I don't know about you. That makes me worry about this staying a peaceful protest, when this is the type of messaging that may be drawing people in. Look, it doesn't help March for Australia that the NSN have become fairly invested in this march. The NSN, Australia's modern day Nazis. Not the say something edgy online kind of Nazi, the self-admitted kind.
The Australian public are going to have to accept Hitler in their hearts, in their schools. They're going to have to accept Hitler. We're not going to disown Hitler. They're going to accept Hitler.
Bec herself has posts that show sympathy, or at least indifference, to the NSN. Both Thomas Sewell and Joel Davies, leaders and figureheads of the Nationalist Socialist Network, have made the following statements on their telegrams about the event, with supporters of theirs backing the event strongly. The NSN seem to be a core group online, supporting, advertising, and really successfully co-opting this event, with March for Australia not really doing anything to stop that from happening. If March for Australia had really denounced the NSN, that would be one thing. You know, the overlap between those who don't like immigration and who are incredibly racist, there's a strong overlap there. But not only have they not explicitly denounced the NSN, in my opinion, they've borderline welcomed them in. All March for Australia has said is that the organisers weren't members or acting on behalf of any group. But that's it. It seems that March for Australia is fine for the NSN to be a core part of this march as long as it stays being anti-immigration, not pro-NSN. When you're at worst knowingly, or at best passively inviting Nazis to walk alongside you, I feel like you really lose the right to complain when people start calling your event racist. One of the other individuals we know is connected to this event is Auspill Hugo Lennon. Auspill became very well known for his anti-mass immigration content and has even given me the tick of approval.
So I have been on TikTok for like, a long time, and for the whole time I've been on TikTok, I get recommended your videos. And like, they're good rants. I like your tags. I think you've got a nice sort of view on things. You aren't too hard to either side. You're pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Thank
so
you.
I've always liked your tags.
I don't know what to make of that glowing recommendation now, but hey, he likes what I have to say, and in my opinion, this event's probably racist. So do what you want with that. Auspill Hugo Lennon has spent a significant amount of time during his online career attempting to shift the focus of the housing crisis almost solely onto mass immigration. And I think it makes a lot of sense for the son of a property developer to try and make Australians blame anyone but those who probably do things up for us. Auspill Hugo Lennon is the son of Anthony Lennon, an individual on the board of directors for Peat Limited, a development company that engages in land banking, the process of holding empty homes to ensure the price of housing never goes too low. It seems to be the case that Peat has around 30,000 homes land banked. I wonder how much that impacts the housing market compared to your average immigrant coming in. Some try and argue that this shouldn't mean anything, that if anything, it's actually way more heroic that someone from the upper class is, helping the lowly people impacted by mass immigration. Except for the fact that 1, these people have never heard of the term scapegoats. 2, I am unaware of Auspill Hugo Lennon ever actually commenting on land banking or talking about how property developers and property development in this country can take advantage of the everyday Australian. And 3, we can't even be sure Auspill Hugo Lennon actually believes anything he said.
So I'm obviously very extreme in the idea that I'm trying to really paint immigration as one of the key driving forces. Whereas yourself, you're probably a lot more realistic in saying that it's a combination and a layer of policy which favours an ever-increasing and ever-growing property value.
And if you still aren't convinced, you want to try and justify this by saying, well, just because the event organizers are, cooked in one way or another, it was meant to be this grassroots community-based movement. So the meaning or the intention might have morphed, and now it really is just the everyday Australian taking an interest in the event and wanting to come along to show pride for the flag and an end to mass immigration. Well, it's a bit of an issue when the website itself, where people had to go to find out information, had re-immigration as one of its goals temporarily. For those unaware, re-immigration is the idea of non-violent ethnic cleansing and bringing the white ancestors back to their homeland. Again, this was only temporary, so it is possible that most people haven't seen this, which is why way at the beginning of the video, I said, I don't believe the vast amount of people talking about or engaging with this event are racist. But it is worrying that that was one of the goals on the website for a while. And that doesn't really help refute that this isn't a racist rally argument. So hey, people can take issue with anyone calling this a racist rally, but if I'm being honest, that's probably a kinda title for what this event actually seems to be. The full picture looks pretty bad. There is now a counter march organized, and I pray to God that no one gets hurt or worse. For the everyday punter, right, if you find this video, it's your choice whether you think that the movement as a whole is worth standing alongside the people who are extremists, the people that you feel like don't actually represent you. Because I know a lot of people really did just want this rally to be a pro-flag, pro-Australia, reduce the amount of immigration, right? And even if I disagree with the evidence for those claims, I understand that a lot of people are genuinely hurting and they just want a way to express their beliefs. But this event doesn't seem like the right place to do it, because in my opinion, with the evidence I have found, the people involved with this event are really not the people who represent Australia, who really do love this country, right? They love this idealized whites-only version of the country. And that's not what this country is or what it should be. Whoever you are, whatever you're doing, just stay safe on August 31st. Because in my opinion, there is a real chance something could go wrong. But hey, come join the Discord, come talk about it, come say hi, come let me know what you think in the comments, like and subscribe, check out the other stuff. It's been real.